Welcome to this video series on aptitude presented by Mentors4ias in association with Bangalore IAS Academy and NammaKPSC. So in this particular session, we will be continuing with time, speed and distance. Okay, so this is our second video or second session with respect to time, speed and distance. However, I will actually be covering different types of problems under time, speed and distance. Now, here in this particular video, apart from maybe one or two questions, I will be focusing on one particular type of problem, that is your when you have two entities moving at say different speeds or the same speeds. With respect to that particular concept, how do you solve such problems when it comes to time, speed and distance over here? So I hope by the end of this particular session, you should be able to solve any kind of problem of such types. So without wasting much more time, let us start with the first question. Now, the first question says, a man traveled from his village to the post office at the rate of 25 kilometers per hour and walked back at the rate of 4 kilometers per hour. If the whole journey took 5 hours 48 minutes, find the distance of the post office from the village. Now, before starting the first problem, I did mention that we know we'll be actually taking up one type of particular concept under time, speed, and distance. However, this particular problem is not that. This particular problem is very similar to the kind of problems that we had discussed in the previous video. Okay, so if you have already gone through the previous video, that is the first session on time, speed and distance, and if you have truly understood the concept, you should be able to do this particular problem as well. So I would suggest pause the video over here, try to do it by yourself. There is however one major difference, but if you've understood the concept, you should be able to accommodate that difference and you should be able to solve it very similarly. So in the previous video, I did give you this particular formula. D is equal to A into B divided by A minus B into T by 60, correct? Now, there is a major difference over here. If you've understood the concept, you should be able to do the problem. So I would suggest please pause the video, try to do it by yourself. However, I will now try and solve the problem now. Okay. So here the question is saying a man traveled from his village to the post office at 25 kilometers per hour. At 25 kilometers per hour and walked back to his home from the post office at the rate of 4 kilometers per hour. At the rate of 4 kilometers per hour. His entire journey took 5 hours 48 minutes. Find the distance of the post office from the village. Now this particular problem, as I mentioned, is very similar. So earlier what I used to say is that, or the earlier type of problems used to be that, say for example, if his home, this is his home and if this is his post office over here. Okay, so he would travel from his home to the post office at 25 kilometers per hour, then he would be so many minutes early. Or he would travel from his home to his post office at 4 kilometers per hour and he would be so many minutes late. But in this particular question, instead of saying he's traveling from his home to the post office, they are saying he is going back from the post office to his home. But the distance, that is the distance between the home and the post office, still remains the same. Now it does not matter, the direction does not matter, but the distance covered still remains the same, but the speed at which this distance is covered changes. Therefore the time taken to cover the same distance also changes. Now this is very similar to the previous to the problem solved in the previous video, where you can still assume that he is traveling from the home to the post office itself at 4 kilometers per hour. Therefore I have taken B is equal to 4 kilometers per hour. Now take the previous video. What did I mention? I said let A be the higher speed, let B be the lower speed. Then I can write, then if D is the distance between the home and the post office, then I can write T1 is equal to D by A, T2 is equal to D by B. Obviously, distance, speed, distance, speed, the time taken to travel at speed A, the time taken to travel at speed B. Then I said T2 minus T1 is equal to d by B minus D by A. Therefore, I assume T2 minus T1 as T itself. I kept T2 minus T1 as T itself. Took D common, A here, B other side, A minus B divided by A into B. Therefore, D is equal to A into B divided by A minus B into T. If T is in minutes, I have to take 60. Now, I hope this you've understood. This you've understood. Now, this problem is very similar to this type, except that here I don't have the time difference. I don't have the time difference. Earlier they used to say he is early by so many minutes and he is late by so many minutes. By incorporating them, I should be able to determine the time difference. Correct? I used to get that whatever 12, 18, 15 minutes, whatever it used to be there, that used to be the time difference between T2 and T1. But here what is it given? Here it is given if the whole journey took 5 hours 48 minutes. Meaning what? T1 plus T2 is equal to 5 hours 48 minutes. So instead of giving T1 minus T2, now the question is giving us T1 plus T2. The total time taken to go and come back, or to go from the home to the post office at two different speeds, that is T1 plus T2, which is equal to 5 hours 48 minutes. So therefore, instead of doing T2 minus T1, I have to add T2 plus T1. So I get D by B plus D by A. I take D common. It is A plus B divided by B. Again, I'll take T itself, T2 plus T1 as T. Therefore, T is equal to D into A plus B divided by AB. Therefore, D is equal to AB divided by A plus B into T. If T is in minutes, I have to write 60. If T is not in minutes, I don't have to include 60. Now, if you did not understand this, it means you've not understood the previous video. You did not understand the concept in the previous video. I would suggest please go back. Please do try to solve the problems. Please do try to understand the concept behind those kind of problems. So here it is not D is equal to AB by A minus B into T by 60. Rather, it is D is equal to AB divided by A plus B into T by 60. That is why I always say, please understand. If you understand, it does not matter. It does not matter how they twist the question. You should always be able to do it. The only difference between this problem and the previous type of problem was that earlier they used to give the time difference. Now they have given the total time. So now you know distance is what? AB divided by A plus B into T. A is 25 kilometers per hour, B is 4 kilometers per hour, T is 5 hours 48 minutes. Okay. Now since it is given in hours and minutes, but all of this speed is in terms of hours, I must change 48 minutes into 5 hours. So what will I do? See, obviously I know 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes, or I'll do it here. 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. Therefore, 48 minutes is equal to how many hours? So 48 into 1 divided by 60. I get 48 divided by 60. 48 divided by 60 is what? 12 4s are 48, 12 5s are 60. Therefore, it is 4 by 5 hours. Meaning what? Time is what? 5 plus 4 by 5 hours. It is 5 hours plus 48 minutes, right? Or nothing but 5 plus 4 by 5 hours. So 5 5s are 25. 25 plus 4 is 9. This is nothing but 29 by 5 hours. So the total time is nothing but 29. Let me write it here. Total time is nothing but 29 by 5 hours. So I have A, I have B, I have T as well. I only have to find out the distance, where distance is AB divided by A plus B into T. You see, it is in terms of hours, so I don't need 60. It is only T. Then what is D? A is 25 into 4 divided by 25 plus 4 is 29 into T. What is T? 29 into 5. So 29 cancel. 5, 5 cancel, 5 fours are 20 kilometers. See, all this drama is not necessary at all. If you've understood the question, you can straight away start from here. You only have to write d is equal to ab divided by a plus b into t. If you know this concept, you don't even have to write this. You can simply start with 25 into 4 divided by 25 plus 4, which is 29, into 29 by 5. You have to convert this, obviously. This is one extra step. Then 29, 29 cancel, 5 25s are 5 5s are 25, 5 into 4 is 20 kilometers. Therefore, it is option A. The correct answer is 20 kilometers. Don't you think this is very simple? But again, you must understand the concept. So I hope you understood this. However, there is one other way that we can actually solve this problem. Okay, so I'm going to clear all of this. I'll just let you know how to solve it by the other method. Okay. So here you have two speeds, correct? You have 25 kilometers per hour. That is onward journey. Onward journey is 25 kilometers per hour. Speed of onward journey is 25 kilometers per hour. Speed of return journey is 4 kilometers per hour. Total time taken is 5 hours and 48 minutes. We know this is nothing but 29 by 5 hours. We have already calculated this. Why do it once again? So t is nothing but 29 by 5 hours. So we want distance. Distance is what? Distance is equal to speed into time. Time we already have. Time is nothing but 29 by 5 hours. However, speed is 20, onward is 25, backward is, return is 4 kilometers per hour. Then we have to consider the average speed. If you directly want to take distance is equal to speed into time, then if you want for S, we have to determine the average speed. What is average speed? How do you determine average speed? The formula to determine average speed is 2xy divided by x plus y, where x is one speed 25, y is the other speed, that is 4 kilometers per hour. Now, I don't want you to worry about what average speed is. What is this 2xy divided by x plus y? Average speed problems based on average speed, I will take it up in a separate session. However, since this particular problem can also be solved by average speed, I am just mentioning this particular method over here as well, so that you know that this problem can also be solved by average speed method. This is another method that you have. So you can find out the average speed and then finally multiply it by time. So what is speed or average speed? Average speed is 2xy divided by x plus 5. So average speed is nothing but 2 into x, it is 25, or you can write it as 2, or you can write it as 2 into ab divided by a plus b, whatever it is. It is the same thing. 2 into 25 into 4 divided by 25 plus 4. What do you get? 2 into 25 is 50. 2 into 25 is 50. 50 into 4, 5 4 are 20, plus 0, it is 200, 200 by 29. The 200 by 29 kilometers per hour. Therefore, what is distance? Distance is speed into time. What is speed or average speed? 200 by 29 into time. What is time? 29 by 5. 29, 29 cancels. 5 4s are 20, 0. You get 40 kilometers. Now, here's a catch. If you are doing this problem, if you're solving this problem by using average speed, you will get distance as 40 kilometers. Straight away, you're going to go and mark it as 40 kilometers. That is option C. But what is the correct answer? Correct answer is 20 kilometers, not 40 kilometers. Then why are you getting 40 kilometers over here? The reason you're getting 40 kilometers over here is that this is not D. It is not the distance between the home and the post office D. This is total distance. This is total distance. You are calculating the total distance traveled, that is onward journey D plus return journey another D. So this distance that you're getting is actually 2D. What is the question asking for? The question is not asking for the total distance traveled. If the question was asking for total distance traveled, then its answer is 40 kilometers per hour. Okay, then if you were to solve it by the previous method, then the answer that you would have got was 20. Then you would have to add 20 plus 20 as 40. But the question is asking for only the distance between the post office and the home and not the total distance traveled. Therefore, it is only D and not 2D. So when you get 40 kilometers, it is 2D actually. So the distance is nothing but half of it. 40 by 2, it is actually 20 kilometers per hour. So depending on what the question is asking for, if the question is asking for only the distance between the post office or the home or the total distance traveled, please remember to mark the correct option. It does not matter which type of method you use. You always have to remember what the question is asking for. It does not, in case you're using the other method also, it is possible that you might go wrong if the question was asking for the total distance traveled. So always remember, please do read the question twice, remember what the question is asking for, and do mark it correctly, because you can see here they have purposely given 20 kilometers and 40 kilometers, because they know that if you are doing it by average speed method, you will get 40 kilometers. As soon as you get 40 kilometers, you would mark uh, as option C. Similarly, if it was total distance covered, and if you were to do it by the first method, as soon as you get 20 kilometers, you would mark option A. Whereas the question is asking for total distance covered, that is 20 plus 20, it should have been option C. I hope you understood the difference between the two. So let us move on to the second question now. Okay. Now there's the second question which says two trains are 1000 kilometers apart. They started running together at 10 a.m. towards each other at 200 kilometers per hour each. At what time do they meet? Now the question over here is asking for time. So I did mention that we will be taking up one particular type of question. This is that one particular type of question. Now this question is asking for time. What is time? Time is nothing but distance by speed. Do I have the distance? The two trains are 1000 kilometers apart. Yes, I have the distance. Do I have the speed? They started running it together at 10 a.m. towards each other, both at 200 kilometers per hour. Then speed is nothing but 200 plus 200. So I have 1000 divided by 400. 0 and 0 cancels. 10 by 4 is nothing but 5 by 2, nothing but 2.5 hours. So two trains are 1000 kilometers apart. At what time do they meet? After, if they start at 10 a.m., they'll meet after 2.5 hours. If they meet after 2.5 hours, meaning what? They will meet at 12:30 p.m. They will meet at 12:30 p.m. It is, sorry, 10, 12:30 p.m. So it is 10 a.m. plus 2.5 hours, nothing but 12:30 p.m. Okay, I hope you understood this. But how do you get this 200 plus 200? Why am I taking 1000 divided by 200 plus 200? I will explain it now. But the method to solve this is nothing but this very simple process, where you take T divided by D, S1 plus S2, that is 1000 by 200 plus 200 equal to 2.5. Now why do we take it by this method? I will explain it now. Okay. So let me explain it by an example. Okay. So let us say this is station A and this is station B. Okay. So we have one train A, we have train A over here, we have train B over here. Now the distance between them, let us assume it to be 1000 kilometers itself. Train A travels in this direction from A to B at 100 kilometers per hour, for example. Similarly, train B travels in this direction, opposite direction, B to A at 100 kilometers per hour. Now, if both of them start together, that is at 10 a.m. or whatever time it is, if both of them start together, and if they're traveling at 100 kilometers per hour, meaning in 1 hour they cover 100 kilometers. So after 1 hour, train A would have covered how much distance out of 1000 kilometers? Train A would have covered 100 kilometers. Similarly, train B would have covered how many distance? What distance? Again, 100 kilometers. What is the remaining distance to be covered? What is the remaining distance to be covered? The remaining distance to be covered is what? Nothing but 1000 minus 100 minus 100. So the remaining distance to be covered until they meet each other is 800 kilometers, correct? The remaining distance to be covered until they meet is 800 kilometers. So in 1 hour, it is like they have covered 200 kilometers. So can I say this is as good as one train moving in a particular direction at 200 kilometers per hour? Don't you think it is as good as one train moving at 200 kilometers per hour? Because in 1 hour, what is the distance it will cover? 200 kilometers. What is the remaining distance to be covered? 800 kilometers. Here the 800 kilometers is between the two trains. The remaining distance is 800 kilometers. This is the remaining distance. Here, this is the remaining distance, 800 kilometers. So don't you think the two situations are similar? Two trains moving towards each other at 100 kilometers per hour and 100 kilometers per hour is as good as one train moving at 200 kilometers per hour in one single direction. How did you get 200 kilometers per hour? 100 plus 100. So here I want you to remember something. Whenever you get a question which says two trains, two cars, two persons, two bikes, two planes, two ships, whatever it is, if they are moving in the opposite direction, if they are moving towards each other, if they are moving away from each other, it does not matter what. If the question is saying they are moving in the opposite direction, they are moving towards each other, they are moving away from each other, I always want you to remember you have to take the sum of speeds, S1 plus S2. You have to take the sum of their speeds, that is S1 plus S2. Therefore, if the question is two trains are 1000 kilometers apart, they started running together at 10 a.m. towards each other at 200 kilometers per hour. At what time will they meet? Then time is equal to distance divided by S1 plus S2 or A by B, however you want to represent the speed. Therefore, distance is what? 1000 kilometers divided by their respective speeds. That is, in this case, 200 plus 200 is equal to 1000 by 400. We have solved this already. It is nothing but 2.5 hours after 10 a.m. 2.5 hours is what? 11 a.m., 12 noon plus 30 minutes, 12:30. Therefore, it is option B. I hope you understood this. Let's move on to the second question. Now see here, the question says two cars started running together at the same time but in opposite direction at 50 kilometers per hour, or if you want to write it as A or B, whatever it is, 50 kilometers per hour, and S2 is 54 kilometers per hour. After how much time will they be 156 kilometers apart? Now, what did I tell you earlier? If the question says opposite direction, they are moving towards each other, they are to meet each other, they are moving away from each other, what will you do? Time is equal to distance by S1 plus S2, correct? Time is nothing but distance by S1 plus S2. The question is asking after how much time will they be 156 kilometers. Now see, they have just changed the wordings of the question. After how much time will they be 156 kilometers? So what they're saying is that both of them are at origin. One car will move in this direction, the other car will move in this direction. So after how much time will they be 156 kilometers? This is as good as saying they are already 156 kilometers. After how much time will they meet? After how much time will they meet? Instead, they have just twisted the question saying that they are together. How much time will they take to move away from each other for a distance of 156 kilometers? Meaning what? You already know D, you already know S, you already know S, you already know S1, you also know S2. You only have to determine the time. What is time over here? Time over here is nothing but distance divided by S1 plus S2. What is distance? Distance is 156 kilometers. If distance is 156 kilometers, then the total speed is 50 by 54. It is 156 by 104. So time is equal to 164 divided by 104. Okay, so 2 sevens are 14, 168 over here, 2 fives are 2s are, then again by 2, 2 threes are 6, on 8, 9, 2 twos are 4, 12 is 6. Okay, 13 threes are 39, 13 twos are 26, 1.5 hours. They take 1.5 hours to be 156 kilometers apart. So the correct option is option A, 1.5 hours. You only have to do this. Take t, take distance divided by the sum of the speeds. Whenever the question says opposite direction, moving towards each other, moving away from each other, it is always the summation of speeds. Time is equal to distance divided by sum of the two speeds. Next question. Okay, now the question says the distance between two cities A and B is 500 kilometers. A train left city A at 8 a.m. at 70 kilometers per hour. Another train left city B at 10 a.m. at 110 kilometers per hour towards city A. At what time will they meet? Okay, so the question is saying we have two cities A and B. Okay, and this is 500 kilometers. The distance between the two cities is 500 kilometers. Now, train A left from city A towards city B at 70 kilometers per hour. At what time? 8 a.m. Another train left city B at 10 a.m. from city B towards city A at what speed? 110 kilometers per hour. At what time? 10 a.m. At what time will they meet? Now this is very simple. I've told you earlier. Okay, now they are moving towards each other and the question is asking how much time will it take for them to meet. So what is time? Time is nothing but d divided by s1 plus s2. This I have already explained it to you. So what would you do? You would take time, then you take distance as 500. 500 divided by 70 plus 110, you get 500 by 180. But this is incorrect. The reason it is incorrect is that the two trains are starting not at the same time but at different times. So this train, since it is starting 2 hours earlier when compared to train B, you have to consider, you have to take into account the distance covered by train A in the first 2 hours. Since it is leaving 2 hours earlier than train B, you have to consider the distance covered by train A in the first 2 hours. What is the question saying? Train A travels at a speed of 70 kilometers per hour, meaning in 1 hour it covers 70 kilometers. In 2 hours, it would have covered what distance? 70 into 2 equal to 140 kilometers. Meaning what? By 10 a.m., this train A would have covered 140 kilometers. Therefore, when train B starts to move towards city A, the distance between the train, this distance that we are talking about, it is no longer 500. It has been reduced by 140 kilometers. So the distance that we have to take here is 500 minus 140, that is equal to 360 kilometers. This is the distance. You have to take into account the distance already covered, because for you to take this particular process in order to solve this problem, they should both be starting at the same time. Therefore distance is 360, not 500. Then how do you find out the time? It is 360 divided by s1 plus s2, that is 70 plus 110. 70 plus 110, that is 360 divided by 180, cancel 18 to the 36 hours. So after 10 a.m., not 8 a.m., after 10 a.m., they will take 2 hours extra to meet each other. So if it was 10 a.m., at what time will they meet? 11 plus 1 hour, 12 noon. It is option B. The correct answer is option B. So it is 12 noon. So we'll move on to the next question now. Okay. Now the fifth question says the distance between two cities A and B is 700 kilometers. If you've understood, please try to do this by yourself. It is 700 kilometers. A train left city A at 9 a.m. A train left city A, let me take this train A, left city A at 9 a.m. towards city B at what speed? 60 kilometers per hour. This train stopped at 10 a.m. and started it again at 11 a.m. So this train started at 9 a.m. continued for 1 hour, that is till 10 a.m. So in 1 hour it would have covered 60 kilometers, correct? Since it moves at 60 kilometers per hour, from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. it would have covered 60 kilometers. It stopped at 10 a.m. and again started at 11 a.m. So until 11 a.m. what is the distance covered by train A? 60 kilometers. Now let us take the second train. Another train left city B also at 9 a.m. Let us take it as train B, also at the same speed, that is 60 kilometers per hour, towards city B. At what time do they meet? Okay. Now in the previous question I did mention that both of them should be starting at the same time. But now in this particular question, yes, both train A and train B start at the same time. So then again you would take T is equal to distance by S1 plus S2, that is 700 divided by 60 plus 60, nothing but 700 divided by 120. No, it is wrong. Why? Because train A takes a break of 1 hour. We have to take this into account. So we have to assume that both the trains are now moving towards each other at 11 a.m. because after 11 a.m. they do not have any interruptions. So we are saying after 11 a.m. how much time will they take to meet each other? That is what we will try to find out over here. So until 11 a.m. what is the distance covered by train A? 60 kilometers. Until 11 a.m. what is the distance covered by train B? Train B does not stop anywhere. So from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. continuously for 2 hours, it would have covered 120 kilometers. So the remaining distance to be covered is what? It is 700 minus 60 minus 120, or 700 minus 180. It is equal to 520 kilometers. Therefore, the distance to be covered is now 520 kilometers. Therefore, time is equal to distance, which is 520 divided by 60 plus 60, 120. 0 and 0 gets cancelled. We have 52 by 12. So this is 26, 6, 13, 3. Therefore, we get T is equal to 13 by 3 hours. So after 11 a.m. they take 13 by 3 hours to reach the station. So we have to find out that time because it is not in terms of 13 by 3 hours. So what would most of us do? Most of us would divide 13 by 3. Okay. So 3 3s are 9. I get what? 4 over here. Yeah, sorry. 3 4s are my mistake. Sorry. 3 4s are 12. 3 4s are 12. I get 1 here. Decimal 10. Okay. I get 4 3s are 9. Again 1. 4.333. You would straight away go and mark 4.33. That is 4.33 p.m. No, this is incorrect. What is the question asking for? Question is asking for after 11 a.m. how many hours do they take? Then you might say, oh, it is 4.33. Therefore, after 11 a.m. plus 4.33 hours. So you would say 12, 1, 2, 3. Therefore, the answer is 3.33 p.m. Then you would mark option C. No, this is also incorrect. It is 4.33 hours. It is not 4 hours 30 minutes. 4.33 is not 4 hours 30 minutes. You can't directly add it to 11 and say it is 3:33 p.m. No, it is incorrect. So what I am going to do is that I am going to convert 13 by 3 hours in terms of minutes. I am going to convert 13 by 3 hours into minutes. Please, it is not option A, it is not option B. As soon as you get 4.33, or when you add 4.33 to 11 am, as soon as you get 3.33, you would mark A or C. It is not A or C, neither is it not D. Actually, I will explain it why. Now, the time that I have gotten, that we have got is 13 by 3 hours. We know that 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. Then 13 by 3 hours is equal to how many minutes? 13 by 3 into 60. 3 to the 60, sorry, 20 is the 60, 13 to the 26, 260 minutes. So 13 by 3 hours is actually equal to 260 minutes. This is the total time. So after 11 am, they take 260 minutes to actually reach or meet each other. So how much is 260 minutes? See here, 1 hour is 60 minutes. 2 hours is 120 minutes. 3 hours is 180 minutes. 4 hours is 240 minutes. This is what? 260 minutes. Meaning it is 240 minutes plus 20 minutes. Or I can say they take 4 hours and 20 minutes extra. After 11 am, over here, they take 4 hours 20 minutes to meet each other. So if they take extra 4 hours 20 minutes, how much is it? 12, 1, 2, 3, 3 p.m. plus 20 minutes. They meet at 3:20. They meet at 3:20. The correct option is option B. It is 3:20. Please don't make silly mistakes. Please understand over here what is doing, what is happening. Please take care of units. Please don't make silly mistake that even after solving the entire problem, you actually make a you actually mark the incorrect option and end up losing marks instead of gaining marks. So this is one type of problem. I'll do more problems on time, speed and distance. Please do follow. I've given you some practice problems. There are different types of problems. Try to solve them. Try to see if you're able to do them by yourself. Okay, so there are 4 practice questions over here. Try to do them by yourself. See if you're able to do it. It's all time, speed and distance. There are different types of questions over here, but try to see if you're able to do it by yourself. So thank you for watching. If you do have any doubts, please do write to us in the comment section. The answers will also be posted in the comment section. Thank you.